A lot of people have eating disorders, but a lot of people don't know how scary that rabbit hole can get. Kerry Washington knows firsthand because guess what, folks? She was considering unaliving herself because of her struggles with this eating disorder. Hopefully, it's gone. We got to pray. Put a hand up to God and pray for Kerry Washington because she's one of our favorite actresses and we don't want anything to happen to her. Let's get into the story. Hit the like bell, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so as yet. So, indeed, that was a bombshell revelation that Kerry Washington made, that this toxic eating disorder prompted her to almost unalive herself. So Kerry Washington, who is now 46 years old, had an interview with Robin Roberts of the ABC News. In a 2020 interview, she said she did not want to be here anymore because of this eating disorder, which was aired on Sunday, September the 24th. She said, it scared me that I could not want to be here because I was in such pain. She said, in moving towards trying to destroy herself, she would do tiny little acts in which she would move forward in trying to destroy herself. And we can only imagine what those tiny little acts were because she did not elaborate or get into it, but I guess you can read it in the book that's coming out. She said she suffered from body dysmorphia despite being high functioning. According to Google, body dysmorphia is a mental illness involving obsessive focus on a perceived flaw in appearance. The flaw might be imagined or minor, but the person does see themselves as being flawed and is compelled to fix the problem. And they may spend hours and days trying to fix whatever they perceive as being flawed. They may try cosmetic measures, or if it's, for instance, like a weight problem, they may exercise excessively. And of course, there's purging of food, etc. Another revelation is that she hated her body beyond her control. She also revealed that her father is not really her biological father, and that was a shock to her. So I am wondering if this eating disorder happened before she found out or after she found out. She said she's on a road to self-discovery, and it knows that her father, this man she has known all her life, is not her biological father. Really took her for a loop. Kerry explained to people that she was to appear on Henry Louis Gates Jr.'s show, a PBS series in which celebrities try to find out the origin of their roots through DNA testing. And she sprung the good news to her parents. She told her parents, and that's when she found out that her father, this man she thought was her biological father all her life, is not her biological father. Her parents knew that through DNA testing, she would have found out that she had no gene in common with this man she was calling her father. And so they figured they were going to tell her before she even did the DNA testing. And so they figured they were going to break the news to her. But for some reason, I don't think they had any intention of telling her. What do you guys think? Drop it in the comment section, and don't forget to hit the like bell and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so as yet. Because Kerry Washington currently is 46, and had she not gone to Henry Louis Gates Jr. to find out her roots, she would not have found out the truth. So Kerry's parents held on to this secret for decades. Now that she's almost 50, the mom, whose name is Valerie, is a professor, and dad, Earl, a real estate agent. But I'm wondering, what does it matter at this point if you've had a good life, if your parents brought you up in a decent environment, in a loving home? Does it really matter at this point if the person is biologically your father? So Earl, her father, had a private conversation with Gates, and Gates told the parents, it is always best for families to discuss such revelations privately prior to filming. And I guess the parents probably went to Gates and confessed. This is what I'm thinking. They confessed and then they were advised to let Kerry know the truth concerning her father. So Kerry said what came next was a text from her parents inviting her to a family sit down in the spring of 2018. So this was 5 years ago. The above picture shows Kerry Washington's parents, Earl and Valerie. So Kerry said when she got the news, she felt a sense of relief because she has always felt as though her parents were keeping something from her. Something was missing, she said. She said she didn't know what her story was, but she knows that she was playing the supporting character in their story. So according to her, she kept her calm and asked a lot of questions. But she fully understood how difficult it was for her parents at that time. And so she said she gave them grace and a lot of understanding. So this part of the story answers my question about her biological father. She went on to say that her parents were struggling to have a child, to conceive a child, and so they decided to use an anonymous sperm donor to help conceive her. So she will never know who her biological father is. If she have any brothers and sisters out there, there are a lot of questions. And for a lot of people, it doesn't make a difference, but for others, it can drive them into that desperate situation, desperate moment. Because let's face it, 1 minute you know who you are, and the next minute you don't know if Jack the Ripper is your father. She said her parents did confess to her that they decided not to tell her. Let's be honest, who wants to hear that they were conceived by an anonymous sperm donor? I don't think any of us would like to hear news like that, especially when that child is growing up into the teenage years, etc. They don't want to hear such news, so her parents decided not to tell her. She also said that because she felt as though something was wrong with her body, that somebody is not telling her something about herself, meaning lying to her about the origin of her true roots, her biological father. She felt that there was something about her she needed to fix. Carrie said when she was younger, she had an eating disorder and she was struggling for years with anxiety, self esteem, and this eating disorder. She now feels those might have been symptoms of subconsciously sensing her parents' secret. So essentially, she is now blaming her parents for her eating disorder and her anxiety attacks. So, as a result of the new revelation, Carrie said that it led her to want to tell her story to the world. And she wrote a book, and the book is called Thicker Than Water. She said, this is really kind of me working to understand my life until now, given this new information that I have, that in many ways felt like sort of the missing puzzle, the missing pieces to the puzzle, she said. Carrie said although her parents are supportive about her writing the book, they were not in the beginning. They were not thrilled. But she said this book is about me. And I now get to step into that important role of being the most important person in my life. This experience has now bonded Carrie and her parents even closer together because now the secret is out. I really started to have so much more love, compassion, and understanding from my parents, she said. Taking this deep dive into our family's history made me put myself into their shoes and think about the things that they have had to navigate and sacrifice. And it really made me feel closer to them, she said. According to her press release, the news of her paternity is just one of many revelations that Carrie have in her book, which is due to hit the bookshelves on Tuesday, September the 26th. According to her publicist, the book, will give the readers an intimate view into her public as well as her private life. Kerry Washington is an artist, an advocate, an entrepreneur, a mother and a daughter, a wife, a black woman who is now trying to really find herself in the wake of the information that her biological father was an anonymous sperm donor. So Kerry Washington had a sit down with Robin Roberts, and she bared her soul. And of course, she pushed her book, her new book. But this is just a little snippet of what she had to say.
After being someone who was so private, are you ready? I think so. You actually contemplated suicide?
Yeah. As I say that too, I'm like, that'll be the headline.
Said I was using alcohol and sometimes food and sometimes weed and sometimes sex to alter my brain chemistry and allow me a dangerously destructive escape. You are bearing your soul.
Yeah.
Up scandal.
Yeah.
Get a text that turned your world around. What was that text?
The text was...
She did not reveal the text. You all got to buy the book to find out. Well, what a story, folks. The book should be very interesting. Drop your comments. I'd love to know what you think about the Kerry Washington story, her memoir she has just written, and it's out September the 26th. Guys, I'm over and out. I'll see you all on the next video. Thank you for watching.